Welcome to the Prosperity Profiles Podcast, sponsored by Prosperity Profilers, LLC. They'll help you look prosperous, feel prosperous, and be prosperous. We hope you listen often, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Now, here's your host, four-time #1 best-selling author, speaker, and business coach, Holly Porter.
Hello and welcome everyone to the podcast today. I have a fabulous guest who is going to be joining us and teaching us all about the Healing Pendulum, and her name is Kim De Boer. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, Holly. How are you?
Oh, I'm so great. Thank you. Well, I'm so happy you're joining us. And with that being said, I want to just mention a few things about you, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right. So you are the founder of the Healing Pendulum, and it's an alternative health detective specializing in the emotion code and the body healing modalities. You have a certification in health coaching from Health Coaching Institute. You are a #1 best-selling author and in healthy living, and it's called The Secrets to Natural Health and Wellness, and hosts the Healing Pendulum live radio show based out of New York. So in your private practice, you work with people globally who are suffering from anxiety and stress. Oh, I must need some today. Depression, toxicity, and past traumas to transform their health so they can get more energy. So you want people to have a pain-free life, and you help them get that. So I love that.
Yes. Yes, me too.
Oh, I bet. So I know, give us a little bit of history about yourself and how you got where you are, and tell us your story.
Okay. Well, my story began actually when I was about 8 years old, when I had an accident. I fell out of a tree onto a root and I hit my tailbone. And as a kid, you don't really think too much about that. You kind of go on your way. And about 2 years later, I could hardly walk.
Oh.
So, and I went to the doctors for 2 years, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And the pain I was feeling was in my knees. So of course they're taking x-rays and all of that. And they didn't know what was wrong. They said, there's nothing wrong with your knees. And so they were going to send me to a foot specialist, but thankfully my mom had the intuition to send me to a massage therapist. And she felt my knees and says, it's your tailbone.
Wow.
And what happened was my tailbone had been pushed in and up and buckled my spine. So that was my beginning of my faith in natural healing. Right? Going to the doctor for 2 years and not being able to find out the answers. So, I went to see her for 2 years. Thankfully, I don't know where I'd be today if I hadn't have, I'd probably be in a wheelchair, to be honest.
Wow.
Because it had cut off my nerve circulation in my legs. And that had been a 4-year period. So anyways, through my life, always looking for a way to get out of pain, because every day I had pain still.
Wow.
And, always trying different modalities and just finding, I just wanted one day without pain, basically. And just like 5 years ago, I was sent a webinar with Dr. Bradley Nelson's The Emotion Code. And originally, I bought I listened to his webinar and I went, well, that's fascinating, but it works with animals really, really well. And I happened to have a cat that had issues, and he had adopted me recently at that time. And he had issues. He had, a hip issue, and he had emotional issues. And I thought, oh my God, if this works on animals,
Yeah.
I'm going to get this program and see how it works. So anyways, I bought it originally to help him. And it did. His hip got fixed, and it was because of his two eye teeth had been broken off at the bottom, and that was a muscle connection to his right hip. So released the trauma from that, and he's now 18 years old. He was 7 at the time, or when I got him, and I guess he was like 13 when I did this work with him. So he'd been suffering for a long time. anyways, it helped him, and I went, okay, well, maybe it'll help me. And as soon as I started doing the work on me, I started to get better. I got that day without pain, and I just went, I have to do this.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how it started.
Wow. So you got certified.
Yes.
And now you can help all these other people with that modality.
Yes, and I like I've been doing it as a business. I've been doing the work for about 5 years as a business. For 2.5, I was working in a corporate job in a 6-figure, I was making 6 figures, and I just went, I can't do this anymore. I have to do this healing work. This is my purpose in life. This is my calling.
Yeah.
So I just quit, and here I am.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So
yeah.
So like that's super great because so many people like do both things. They have to because they have that regular paycheck coming in. And I mean, if you were making 6 figures in your job, wow, that was great. But like, what's behind that?
Well, and and I also had a lot of debt,
Oh, wow.
at that time, but I just went, I have to do this. I have to pursue this. It was just something that I really wasn't enjoying my previous job, and I had been there for 16.5 years.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. It was actually in the commercial janitorial business, and very negative.
Wow.
Like, it's a very negative business. Nobody phones you to say you're doing a great job. They only call you to say, your people or whatever, they missed a garbage can and they're angry, or they missed, they planted things behind a door, whatever, right? And I just went, I can't do this anymore. And then I'd come home and I'd do my healing with people, in the evenings and on the weekends, and it would just, I felt so good in my heart. To be helping them. So I just went, I'm not getting any younger. So it's like, I have to do this now. Yeah.
Wow. So you just like gave 2 weeks notice and said, I'm out of here?
Yeah, actually, I gave 2 weeks notice, and I actually left before that.
As a lot of jobs, when you're leaving, that works out that way.
It does. It was like, okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, and I'll never look back. I have no regrets on doing that. Like, I left, and it was like, bye-bye.
Oh, wow.
It was a chapter in my life that was great at the time, but this is my new chapter. And yeah.
So what's behind your name, the Healing Pendulum?
Well, the body code and the emotion code are the modalities that I use in my healing practice. And it's designed to be, to get the answers from your subconscious with muscle testing, kinesiology. And I just didn't find for me that I was getting the true answers. Like, I didn't feel confident that the answers I was getting were true.
Okay.
Just, there's so many different variables in muscle testing. You can have a misalignment in your neck, or you could be dehydrated and you won't get, the true answers.
Right.
And I didn't even know anything about the pendulum. And I went to a body code retreat, and one of the ladies who was sitting beside me, she was from Hungary, I believe, and she was using this device, this pendulum, and I'm going, what is that? And so she said, try it. And I picked it up, and it just started moving. Like, it just started like big movement. Quite often when you first start, it's just this little tiny, oh, it's moving, right? And it was like, and I went, this is for me. Wow. So I do all of my work with the pendulum. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the Healing Pendulum.
Wow. That's a cute story. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that much about it until a few years ago either. And it did that with me. And I thought, wow, it's interesting how your energy just speaks. And, if you really use your intuition to listen, it's amazing what can happen.
Oh, yes. And we do need to listen. I don't think we listen enough. To our bodies. Our bodies are constantly talking to us. And quite often we don't listen to them. They're giving us warning signals, right? Our bodies. If you have a pain in your knee or you have a headache, it's not something that's normal. You know, it's your body saying, okay, there's something going on here that you need to address.
Right. Yeah. It took me a lot of years. I have some eye things that go on, and some things are like keratoconus is an eye where your cornea is shaped like a cone. So I have a special contact. Well, I get that the energy work, those are things that's probably not going to heal. You know what I mean? Those are different. I mean, I believe in healing, but like there's certain things, my energy will get stuck in my eyes. And so I learned that when I don't, my vision, which has nothing to do with the keratoconus,
right?
When my vision's not clear, I know my energy's stuck, and that's my sign. And so it's been interesting how many healers have picked up on that. When I share that, they'll be like, oh yeah, I see that. And someone said that was my sign, and I need to listen, and I'm not listening. So
right.
my vision gets kind of cloudy, and for like 3 years, I didn't even drive at night because of it. And so now I know if my energy's clear, I can drive at night, no challenge at all. So it's interesting how our bodies do tell us what's going on, and if we will listen. So yeah, and you probably pick up on a lot of that when people communicate to you as your clients, something you can probably share, you know, something that your intuition tells you something about them, I'm sure. So you're like, oh, and sometimes it's like a little puzzle. You just have to like put all the pieces together until you figure it out.
And that's why I'm like an alternative health detective.
Yeah.
Right? Because you really do have to do some detective work to figure out what's going on, because usually it's not from one imbalance in the body. You know, that for your headaches, it's going to be like 10. You know, it's going to be a trapped emotion here, or a psychic trauma, or it's going to be an imbalance in, I don't know, your liver, or, you know, something. There's going to be like probably 8 to 10 different imbalances in your body that are causing the symptoms.
Exactly.
So you have
I like what you said when we were talking before we got on the show. We were sharing that you know, about being able to do your own energy work, but why it's important sometimes to have other people, excuse me, work on you, because what'd you say, 83% is all we can do?
It's like 83%. You can get, you know, you can clear on yourself if you're doing energy work about 83%, I would say. And then there's
83%. I want to be 100%.
I want to be 100%. So there's just things, you know, if you're working well through your subconscious, of course, that it just won't quite give you for whatever reason, right? Yeah. So somebody else can access it, but because of, you know, whatever block or whatever's going on, it just won't let you, because it's there to keep you safe, right? Your subconscious is there to keep you safe. And if you have a limiting or core belief around something, you know, that the subconscious believes, obviously, then it'll just keep you safe, and you won't be able to access it until you know, pinpoint what it is.
Well, and something that I've learned with doing healing is that people say, oh, well, how come you're having an issue with that? Or why is that coming back up for me when I cleared that already? You know, it could be just one thing, one thought different than whatever you cleared. And it's something all new, even though it seems the same, it's different.
Yes.
So like, yeah, they get confused.
Yeah, and something can trigger. So I have an abundance program that I work with, and it's about, you know, releasing, actually eliminating your limiting and core beliefs.
Yeah.
However, like I work on myself all the time in that, so I'll be in 100% abundance mode and everything's going great, and then all of a sudden it's like, what's going on, right?
Right.
And so I'll go in and test, and all of a sudden I'm in 100% lack mode.
Yeah.
And then I'm going, well, no wonder things aren't coming to me. You know, no wonder things aren't working out. And I'm doing all the same things, but because of your energy, if you're in lack mode, you're just going to get lack, right? Just, and it'll be maybe 2 or 3 statements, you know, positive or negative vibrations that I have to re-clear.
Yes.
And that's probably from something, you know, something just triggered an emotion or something, you know, something happened in that week or day or whatever that just triggered an emotion, and that needed to be cleared. Definitely. And just brought up that whole limiting belief again.
I agree. Yeah. And that's why I was saying, you know, people think, well, it should just be gone. Well, it can be, and it can be easy. And lot of people like to live in victim mode. So
Yes.
they recreate things all the time. They'll be like, oh, I already fixed this. I already dealt with it. Well, maybe you did, but you didn't deal with it over here, or, you know, and
Yeah. Yeah. And our thought process, right? I mean, if we're in victim mode, you're just going to attract, you know, like attracts alike, right? So you're just going to attract more of that victimization.
yeah. I had somebody once that very negative, and I could do a lot of help for them, but because I was so close to the situation, I wasn't the right person to be doing that.
Right.
And they were attracted to somebody who I felt had the worst energy ever, like you're a healer. I mean, anyway, and that was where that went to. It was the vibration level. They were probably at the same vibration level, the negative person
Exactly.
and the healer that was just had bad energy. And so I thought, well, anything's better than nothing. And I supported it. And I mean, it worked out okay, I guess. But yeah. Interesting how you'll be attracted to people. A lot of people are attracted to people that their vibration's higher than them because that's what they want.
Yes.
So they crave that, you know, and what do you call that? Sometimes for healers, that's like leeches. It's like people are attracted to you because you have good energy, and it's like, so you have to, especially if you're an empath and you absorb people's energy, you have to learn to protect yourself, because sometimes I've learned to test me, is this mine or is it somebody else's? Because it's like, why am I feeling so heavy today? Like, what's going on? Or, you know, and I've had to learn.
Yeah, I have a shield that I put up. It's like a bubble.
Yes.
And, right? And so you put that up, and it just doesn't allow the negative energy to, you know, affect you, just the positive.
So why don't you share that? I've got one too I'll share that I'm sure you're aware of, but for our listeners, let's teach them something. So if you were going to shield yourself and you were going to do the bubble, walk through that, and so they can understand how they can do that for themselves.
Well, it is a process that's done through the body code.
Oh, okay. Because I've done a bubble, but different, probably.
Yeah, it's a process that, you know, you run the magnets down and you say some words, so it's not really something that somebody could do on their own.
Oh, okay.
Per se. So I for all of my clients, I always put a shield up for them.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a little bit different what I was thinking of. I was just thinking of a tool that maybe we could share with the listeners that they can. I do the zip up. So
I do the zip up too.
Do a jacket, and you just zip it up. And I usually do it 3 times. Not that you have to, but that's just kind of my mantra. So just pretend you're going to zip up. Just visualize, you know, being surrounded by light, and zip up, and so that you're protected and nothing gets in. And
I actually do that for myself every morning.
Yes.
Right. So make sure you're grounded. There's another thing and I don't know if maybe the listeners would like to know the sway test.
Oh, yeah. I call that the body pendulum.
Oh, yes. And it is the body pendulum. It is. And it's.
I say that wrong. How do you say it? I say a lot of words wrong.
Pendulum. No, that's good. Yeah, the body pendulum. I mean, the sway test, it's just so easy to do, and you can do it anywhere. And I also teach my clients that, because it's, you know, it's with you at all times, right?
Yeah. So let's teach that.
Okay. So the sway test, really, it's very simple, and all you do is just stand with your feet planted on the ground, and you just kind of relax your body, and you just think and say something. You know, I usually say yes, you know, like yes, think and say yes. And your body will just automatically move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then you reposition yourself and get neutral again. And then you go, no, and think and say no. And your body will just naturally fall backwards.
Yeah.
And you can ask your body anything.
Yeah.
And it will give you that answer, you know, a yes or no question. And your body will either go forward or it will go backward. You can use that. You can use that, you know, for testing your food. Yes. You know, is this food good for me? Yes, no. You know, is this
Like,
Or do you need it?
maybe it's good for you, but maybe you don't need it. I did that for my vitamins. I was taking like 30 different vitamins a day.
Yeah.
My husband said, you're like already healthy. He goes, why do you take so much? And so I started muscle testing or doing the body pendulum.
Yeah.
And muscle testing seemed to be a little faster for me, myself. But yes, it worked. So I'd actually hold it in my hands, or I'd hold the bottle and, do I need this? And if I took 3, I'd say, do I need 1, 2, or 3, you know, and test that way, because then I didn't overtake it.
I also do that every morning as well.
Yeah.
Like I have my pendulum. I have pendulums all over my house.
I'll have to have you show me
it.
next time I see you. I'll have to have you show me how that works. And
Yeah. And it's amazing. Like every morning I'll say, okay, what does my body need today? You know, do I need, and sometimes it says nothing as far as supplements. It goes, no, you know what? You don't need anything. You're good.
Yeah.
Or, you know, do I need 1, 2, you know, how many do I need? You know, how many does my body want? And need and want are actually 2 different.
It's true.
It's, you know, your subconscious takes them differently. Do I want, do I need? Yeah.
People have to realize, you know, if you want your health, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to figure out how to get it. And
it does.
Patient.
Yeah. I mean, it'll take at least 3 months, probably, if you're well, I've seen results in two months, even people with cancer. If they, you know, stop eating those inflammation and inflammatory foods, they exercise every day, you know, they get a good night's sleep, they take some supplements, because when your body's in that state, it needs extra help.
Yeah.
Right? But you just need to know what it is that your body needs, because everybody is individual and everybody is unique.
Right.
So maybe what would work for you may not work for me.
Well, and find the right person to work with, because if you're, you know, a lot of times I found, even, I love chiropractors, but some of them are in it for the cells. Yeah. And they send you home with all this nonsense that you really don't need. And if you can learn how to even muscle test, you know, with yourself, and then, like I said, if you get yourself to 83%, then call you and say, get me to 100%, you know?
Yeah.
Just work with somebody, because I think, you know, sometimes you don't need all that.
Exactly. And, you know, if your practitioner is not muscle testing you and just saying you need this supplement, like, just, you know, how do you know I need it? You know, because it worked for somebody else and it says on the bottle that it's good for whatever, it doesn't mean it's good for you. It doesn't mean your body's going to absorb it properly. And it might be the right supplement, but not the right brand.
Yeah, that's true, because they all have different ingredients in them. That's true.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk. We have just a couple more minutes, but I wanted to mention that you have your own radio show, and we talked about that in the beginning. Yes. And so what's the purpose of your show that you do?
My show, it is called the Healing Pendulum. And my purpose is actually I want to reach 1 million people, right? And just to help people understand that you can take control of your own health, that, you know, you have the power within you to take responsibility for your own health without medications and you know, all of that goes along with, I mean, a lot of people are scared to take that step into alternative health.
So true.
Right? It can be very scary for some people. Right. And the purpose of the show is just to give information and help you know, the masses actually understand that your body is actually designed to heal itself if given the right ingredients, and that we are responsible for our health.
Well, you're just one of the ingredients to the whole mix then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and it's we won't even get started on all the healthcare stuff, you know, but I think a lot more people are open to energy healing now than they used to be, and it's a little more common, and it's not so woo-woo like it used to be. Yeah. Talk about it.
I mean, it's all based on science, like the body code. It's ancient Chinese medicine, kinesiology, magnetic therapy, and quantum physics. Yeah. You know, as many of the modalities are, they're based on science, and they've been around for centuries.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, if someone wanted to contact you, where would they go?
Oh, well, they can certainly go to my website, and it's www.thehealingpendulum.com, and pendulum is spelled Pendulum. And also you can email me at kim@thehealingpendulum.com. And I do have an opt-in to my, it's healthy, actually, I'm just redoing this right now. So,
We all have to
so, and anyways, I have a giveaway on the opt-in, and it's spring health. So things that you can do at this time of year to get you going, exercising and drinking lots of water, and it's just a report on spring health.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So
you
it's
go
a
to
good.
your website. I'll link that below in the show notes. We'll put that here so that they can grab it in case they're driving and listening or just not able to write it down.
Okay, awesome.
You can jump in and come back and listen again, and hopefully, and your radio show, is that information on your website as well?
It is actually, all the replays are under the podcasts.
Great.
So yeah. So they're all there to re-listen, and they're all like labeled. I think I've got 16 shows.
Perfect.
Are there. So
well, I wish you all the best, and I hope that people realize, that there's alternates to healthcare, and reach out if they need anything or want to know more about the body code or the emotion code. You're certified for both, yes?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you again for being on the show today, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Holly.
Thank you for listening to Prosperity Profiles Podcast, sponsored by Prosperity Profilers, LLC, helping you look prosperous, feel prosperous, and be prosperous. We hope you enjoyed our time together, and we'll visit again soon. You can learn more about Prosperity Profilers by going to hollyporter.com.